Hi, writers. So this is part three, and I've just decided to take off the different, part three of four. I'm not sure how many parts this short story is going to end up being as I write it. So part three is going to be me writing the middle scene, and some feedback I got from the previous video in which I wrote the beginning was that actually my friend in Chicago, Valerie O'Brien, commented that it would be helpful if I talked through my thought process while I brainstorm, while I write. So not just, where you see me writing, but just also like what I'm thinking as I make decisions about what to write. So because of that, I'm going to give myself a lot more time to write the middle, and middle tends to be the biggest part, but we'll see. So my intention is to get through the part where now the priest and the prostitute are now, they've walked into the church and they're about to go to his office, and I want to get to the point where he gives her the letter, maybe a little bit further, but yeah. So I'm still going to be, thinking as fast as I can and everything, but just to get through this first draft and then, slowing down. Some great advice I've read or heard somewhere the other day was to write fast, edit slow. So get through your first draft as quickly as you can. And I'm learning, what I'm realizing I do more and more really is that I don't think of myself as a writer so much as I think of myself as a rewriter. And that's what I'm realizing quality writing is. It's not really, are you a writer, but really rewriting. So, okay. So when we left off, she said, suit yourself. They pulled up to a large church, and he opened the door and she followed him through it. So my thought process now, and I'm going to give myself like 20 minutes or so just to see how far I get, just because I'm going to take more time talking as well as writing. So what I'm doing now is I'm coming back to this. I haven't touched it since last week. But so what I'm thinking now is I'm trying to visualize what I see this large church looking like. And so I'm picturing this large, like, Catholic or Episcopalian, whatever. I guess it'll be Catholic since he's a priest, but a really big monolithic looking church. And, he opens the door for her, and I see her wearing like a cheap rabbit fur jacket and some, the booties, the shoes that are like, those kinds of shoes. And I see her and she feels intimidated by such a big church, and she feels like I'm so not a church person. So that's what I see right now. So I know my intention is to get her to the point where he gives her the letter. Who knows what's in the letter? Who knows what they're going to talk about right now? But let's go. So I'm going to just copy and paste this to kind of give myself some whatever. So 10 minutes later, they pull up to the large church. And I'm saying it out loud because sometimes that gets me refocused. He opened the door for her. Instead of saying that she followed him through the doors, and she followed him through the doors. So what I'm thinking now is that she's going to remember some traumatic kind of experience, or something like that, where where she just doesn't like churches or something like that. And actually, just thinking of that, let's see if they know if he knew where she was going. You're going with him. Wait, I gotta leave here. So, whatever, Michael Jackson. Good, let's go. Suit yourself. They pulled up to a large church. Why are we stopping here? Stopping here, Colleen asked. So, because I'm thinking maybe she has some kind of thing about churches. Or church. When Colleen saw where they stopped. St. Michael's. Why I keep using Michael? Let's say St. James Cathedral. I want to connote that she is feeling fear. She recoiled in the dark. Now, let me tell you what I don't like about that is I'm not sure what that looks like. I can't really see that. So I want to adjust that to, so I'm going to say she shrank back. She shrank down into her seat. Let's see. And I'm going to have her have a flashback. Only bad girls don't listen, young lady. So she's having a flashback. Why are we stopping here? Colleen asked. And I know you're supposed to limit, adverbs, but first draft, so whatever. Why are we stopping here? Colleen, oh, even better. Colleen demanded. I'd like to talk with, okay, the priest was quiet, his hand on the ignition. I don't know if that makes sense, but whatever. I'd like to talk with you, Colleen. Quiet for a moment. His hand, frozen over. His hand, better yet, his hand still. That's what I see in my head. I see him just being still and, just pausing. Talk with you, Colleen. He spoke very, very quietly. How do you know my name? She spoke just as quietly, but her voice trembled. Silence. So I don't know if I'm going to do anything with this, and I'd like to talk with you, whatever. I don't know, but just trying it out. Silence. And then I see her saying, how the fuck do you know? Do you know my name? And do you know my name? And then I want to see her look at him. So let's see. Do you know my name? Do you know my name? She snapped on the car light. I don't know what those lights are called. The ones that are, the lights in the car, whatever. She snapped on the car light. Hey, priest man, answer the question, or I swear to God, I will break your fucking what? Break your fucking balls off in my hand. Michael Jackson would break her jaw if she did. She knew from experience. I want to say, actually, she knew that from experience. She knew that from previous experience. But so I wanted to say that she's bluffing, really. She wouldn't. She would do no. She would do no such thing because look at this. But he didn't know that. She could tell. She could tell. The priest cleared his throat. Your friend on the corner told me. You know what? I may save this for when she's actually in there. You know what I mean? When she's in the office, I may save this then. So I'm going to move this because this seems a bit much. And so so I'm going to move this here. I'm going to just take this down here. And I'm just going to leave this here. She's shrinking down in her seat. The fear, and I want to add a little bit more. The fear closing her throat before she could stop it. Let's see. I'm going to say, I'm going to say, so we're doing it here, in front of the church. Colleen demanded. I'm going to say the old fear she hadn't felt since she was 7. No, I'm going to say 6. 6. Closing at the here when the church demanded. And I'm gonna make her louder because she's trying to drown out the, so demanded. Her voice was shrill in the silent car. His hand. And now I'm gonna say the priest's hand stilled over the ignition. I was hoping we could talk inside. He turned to her in the dark. That is, if you wouldn't mind. Colleen shrugged and opened her car door, slamming it. I want to just kind of give the sense that she's, kind of nervous and just kind of wants to get this over with. So, whatever. So let's say that. Whatever she said she was irritated. If you wouldn't mind. So instead of saying whatever, I want to say it's your Colleen shrugged. It's your dime. It's your dime. And then I'm going to say, just because she's frustrated, asshole. And I want to say what she's really feeling. You're the fucking freaky asshole. Something like that is what she's thinking in her head. So instead of saying she was irritated, I want to show that she's, you know, just kind of antsy. Sure dime. Let's go. I want to put it here. Instead of saying let's go there, I want to just, she's ready to get this. Oh my God, I'm trying to get this off. What? Okay. Let's go. I want this to not be italicized. Okay. Let's go. Now let's have her open the door. She opened her car door, slamming it so hard the windows rattled. So I want to show that she's afraid, kind of, or she's just really, you know, rattled. Let's see. So now let's get her up the stairs. Actually, for now, let's just table this. And now let's get her so we know that's where we're going to end up. So I'm going to take that off because that's distracting me. I know I got to get her to the point where she's opening the letter. She's opened the car door, slamming so hard the windows rattled. Now we know that she has an aversion to being there. That to me adds something. So, and we know that they're about to go to the office. So let's see. Colleen stuffed her fists. I just want to say fists instead of hands, just because, you know, stuffed her fists into the cheap fake, into the rough fake fur jacket Michael Jackson had given her for Christmas the year before, and stalked up the steps. Let's see. I want to say not waiting for the priest to follow. Let's see. Let's see. I'm stuck right now. Okay. When you're stuck, let's see. Not waiting for the priest to follow. Just force ahead. So let me think. What do I see right now? Not waiting. I see her pulling open big doors. She had to use all her body strength to pull open the huge double doors, and almost tripped. No, I don't want to say she almost tripped, because she almost tripped before already. Doors. When she did, she nearly choked on the incense. I'm going to say incensey. It's changing it for me, but incensey fumes. Well, it's changing it for me, but you know, on the incense fumes. Forgive me, Father. I have sinned. Let's see. So forgive me, Father, I have sinned. And so again, that's a memory. Let's see. Now, let's see. And now I want to pull her back, and I want to pull her back into the present. And she was a sinner. I want to take her off of this. And she was a sinner. God knew she was a sinner. He loves. And now I want the priest to be kind of walking in behind her. I knew she was a sinner. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to have her do the sign of the cross. I think that would be something neat. She nearly choked on the incense fumes. Let's see. She'd made the sign of the cross before. No, I don't want to say she'd made. I want to. She. Instead of saying she made the sign of the cross, I want to make it as active as possible. So I want to say her fingers, her fingers brushed, instead of saying touched her forehead, I want to get the actual motion, brushed her forehead and were to her, let's see, chest. Oops, time's running short. Okay, I'm gonna give myself 5 more minutes then. Her fingers brushed her forehead and were to her chest, and then, what do you say? Her chest and shoulders before she realized, forgive me, Father, I have sinned. And she was a sinner. God knew she was a sinner. Okay. And now that she's kind of made the sign of the cross and she's kind of staring, I see her staring at, maybe a Jesus statue on the cross. Now I want the priest to come up behind her. So let me give myself 5 more minutes because I have kind of been lagging a little bit. And I'm going to, try to get to this scene a little faster. All right. She was a sinner. The priest comes up behind her. Okay, he loves us all. He loves us all, The priest was standing beside her, staring at the cross, at the front of the front of the church. Okay, staring at the huge cross, the front of the church. And then I want her to say one thing and then we'll move on. He doesn't. Let's see. I'm just going to have her say, he doesn't love me. And then you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to have her say, nobody loves me, Father. Father, she spoke quietly, but her words echoed throughout the hollow building. She turned to him. Now she's kind of like, she turned to him. So what? I want to bring her back to her, so what are we doing? Blowjob, regular anal. I don't know what people, say. But what are we doing? Blowjob, regular Anal. The priest blinked. Why don't you come with me? So we're going to the office. Why don't you come with me? Again, Colleen's going to shrug again. Colleen shrugged. And then we're going to notice what she noticed. He seemed nervous. She stared curiously at his narrow back. Who knows if his back is narrow, but she stared curiously at his narrow back as she followed him down a small corridor. She wondering idly how he'd become a priest. She almost collided into him just to get to the door, just to let people know we're to the door now. She almost collided into him when he stopped suddenly in front of a door marked Father, the name that comes to mind right now, Santiago, whatever. All right. Now, he opened the door, and what do we see? I see, I hear opera music, and opera music, I don't want to say flowed from the radio. How about this? He opened the door, and a woman's voice sang in, what's the language of opera? Italian? Yeah, sang in Italian. Sang to her in Italian. When it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Father Santiago gestured for her to walk in. I want her to have another flashback. So crap, I'm taking longer than I want. But whatever. I'm gonna get through this. For her to walk in. Only back goes on this young lady. All right, now let's go to. Okay, she walked in. She hesitated a moment, but she knew. But she had a job to do. All right, let's get this off. What's it called? But she had a job to do. So, why is this going to this? Okay, so in she walked. What's that? What is what? Not what is what? Father, I'm going to say Father has asked that music. She pointed to the radio. That music. Father Santiago nodded. It's opera. Do you like it? And now let's give it a name. I'm trying to think of a famous opera. The only thing that's coming to mind right now is Romeo and Juliet. I don't know if that's an opera, but whatever. Romeo and Juliet. Do you like it? Colleen just shrugged. Let's see. So what are we doing? So what are we doing here, Father? What are you doing here, Father? She wanted to get out of there. I'm going to say she needed to get out of there. Get out of there. Let's see. We are getting to where he gives her the letter. And then I want to, okay. We could just give her the letter, but let's take just a few minutes to, she wanted to get out of there. I want to take a minute to just set the scene. I see him sitting down, so I'm going to have him sit down. Father S. Brushed past her, careful not to touch her. She noticed. I want to show he's not a creep, but, you know, she noticed to sit behind his desk. He gestured for her to sit across from him, and she did. Now I want to do a little physical description. She hadn't really looked at him before, but she did now. Father S was beautiful. Make him fine. It's beautiful. She realized. Not handsome. I just see him, but radiant. Okay. But radiant. Now I wanted to say something. He folded his hands on the desk. I don't want anything from you, Colleen. He spoke quietly, barely above a whisper. Okay, now we have this. How do you know my name? Okay, now I want to say, Colleen, whole body. I don't want to say went still again, but for now, in the interest of time, went still. She gripped the edges. I want to show that she's really of her chair. Air. Okay. I was thinking air, like the air left her body, but for now, how do you know my name? Silence. How the fuck do you know my name? She snapped. I'm going to say she snapped her fingers. Snapped her fingers. Yeah. Fingers. Hey. Priest man. Answer the fucking question. I swear to God, I'll break your fucking balls off in my hand. Okay. Let's do that. And now, the priest didn't move. Well, the priest, well, he's about to move, so let me not say he didn't move. The priest was still. And then he pulled he opened a drawer. I'm going to show he opened the manila folder on his desk. Nothing on his desk, single manila folder on his desk, and slid it. Oh, desk. Pulled out a sheet of crumpled loose leaf, and slid it in her direction. Okay, done. Took longer than I wanted, but yeah, so there's the middle. We've gotten to the point of the letter. Again, first drafts are hard, but it's done. So we will continue with part 3 where we get to the end of this tale. We will see how it all comes together. I don't know how it's going to come together yet, but you know, hey, if you have any ideas for how you'd like it to come together, let me know. I'd love to know. You can go to my actually, you can just contact me here. And just let me know if you have any ideas for, how you think it should end. I'd love to know. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this is helpful. If you have any other ideas for me or how I can be more helpful, let me know. All right. Thanks, and happy writing.